Dave Mooney.
Oh, hello.
Can I ask you a few questions?
Sure.
Where are we right now?
We're at the Wyss Institute at Harvard University, where we are working to both invent and then translate new technologies to help people.
What is your favorite breakfast food?
Cold cereal with skim milk.
Is that what you had this morning?
Yes, every morning.
Can you describe yourself in 3 words?
Let's see. Focused, driven, and patient. Although my wife, I think, would disagree with the patient part.
In 30 seconds or less, what do you do for work?
So I try to understand how cells in the living human body make decisions. And then we try to develop technologies that can control and get cells to do what we would like them to do in the context of developing therapies for various diseases.
In 2009, your lab received a lot of attention for creating the first implantable cancer vaccine. Can you explain how it works?
Yeah, so that version of the vaccine was a small plastic disc about the size of a baby aspirin tablet that we would put under the skin, and it would attract immune cells from the surrounding tissues to literally crawl right into that small piece of plastic. And that piece of plastic acted as a school and trained those cells how to generate an effective immune response against cancerous cells. Those immune cells would then leave the device, go to the lymph node, talk to other immune cells, and orchestrate this broad and robust response against the cancer.
Oh, cool. What do you think will be the biggest scientific breakthrough of our lifetime?
I think the biggest breakthrough is likely to be the ability to precisely control the biology inside of our bodies. I think this will lead to a variety of cures and treatments for diseases that in the past were considered to be untreatable.
When you're not working, what are you doing?
I spend time with my family, and then I also like to exercise. I do triathlons, the short triathlons, not the long ones.
Awesome. Can we take a walk quickly?
Sure.
Are you an introvert or an extrovert?
I have to say an introvert. I tend to sit back and try to understand the situation before I act.
Do you prefer the beach or the mountains?
The beach or mountains? Actually, I'd say the forest. I really like both the beach and the mountains, but I particularly enjoy being in the woods, following a trail, particularly if I'm there with my dogs.
Awesome. What's one unusual or unique thing about you that people would never guess?
Probably that I'm actually come from a very large family. I'm one of 11 children, and so I basically grew up in this tiny little house with my crib was basically a drawer in the dresser in my parents' room, and then I shared a bedroom with a bunch of brothers, and the living room couch was my bedroom for a number of years, and then the basement.
Must have been a very loud house.
It was very loud, especially when the girls would fight.
What keeps you up at night?
What keeps me up at night? Well, in the past, not much, because I tend to fall right asleep when I go to bed. But over the last few years, and particularly over the last several months, a lot of things are changing. And I think our country is, abandoning a lot of the principles that led it to be, such a great country. And I worry about whether the opportunities in the future will be as good as the opportunities have been in the past.
So you said you grew up in the United States. Where exactly did you grow up?
Yeah, I grew up in Madison, Wisconsin.
And what's one thing you miss about it?
Probably the friendliness of the people. I love Boston, but people here are not quite as friendly as in the Midwest. And when I travel back home, I always really enjoy how kind people are, even to people they don't know.
What is the best piece of advice you've ever received?
The best advice I've ever received is once you've made a decision, that you don't turn around and look back at the doors that are closing behind you, but instead you focus on all the new opportunities that now exist in front of you once you've made that decision.
What was your favorite vacation spot or favorite vacation that you've taken?
I'd say that's my family. We took a huge trip out west to all the national parks, Bryce and Zion, the Grand Canyon, Canyonlands, and a 6-week trip. We bought a big SUV, drove out there, and then spent, as I mentioned, about 6 weeks hiking and camping in the various parks. It's just really a fantastic trip to be with family and see so many beautiful places.
If you could have dinner with another Beast faculty member, who would you invite?
Don Ingber. We've known each other for decades now, but it's actually been a few years since we've really caught up on a personal level, and I'd enjoy actually just going out to dinner and talking about family and life.
What accomplishment are you most proud of?
Raising my two sons and being married to my wife for the last 32 years is my greatest accomplishments. Professionally, I'd say all the students and fellows and staff that I've had the opportunity to work with, train and mentor, and both their accomplishments in the lab and then since they've left the lab.
A real ripple effect of all the impact that you've had.
Absolutely.
Can you show me something awesome?
Sure, yeah, right over here. So what we're going to look at is going to be one of the technologies that we've developed in the laboratory in the cancer immunotherapy space. And so we've developed these very small particles, these microparticles that are in orange in this image, and then they're interacting with T cells, and T cells are these blue blobs here. And these particles act as artificial cells, and they activate the T cells and cause them to expand. So this technology is now being used by a company to manufacture T cells for therapies for patients who suffer from cancer. And we're continuing to use this technology in the laboratory to better understand how T cells get activated and are effective at killing cancer, so we can develop kind of the next generation of therapies in this space.
Wow, that is awesome. Thank you so much. We'll let you get back to your very important work.
My pleasure.